The truth of the matter is that mental illness can affect anyone. Les Jones is a perfect example of someone who was negatively affected by a mental illness, and it took determination on his part and a commitment to step up on second to regain control of his life. So now we're going to talk with Les about his personal journey of dealing with mental illness. So Les, one of the things you wanted to talk about, and I think that is very important, is to talk about your own personal journey with mental illness. So when did you realize that you had an issue and that you were dealing with a mental illness?
I felt different all my life. An example I like to give is, you've heard of the story of the bubble boy. The boy had no immune system inside the bubble. That's what I felt like all my life. I felt like I was among people yet all alone. I had a chance to talk to a doctor at UCLA, and he said,
how old were you at this point in your life?
"Oh, I was in my 40s.
Okay.
But I struggled through this all my life, not knowing what was going on." Spoke with a doctor who said that most people have their first break when they're 19, 20, 21. He says, "I've shown signs of mental illness all my life," and it makes sense. I know there were many times I would hear voices,
Okay.
and I would be so angry at myself, I would actually beat myself and hurt myself. And there were many things I did like this, and I would go on manic runs, and I could never keep a job. I could never keep a place to stay, because I would like wake up and say, "How did I get here?" And I'm not telling that as telling my war story, so to speak. What I am saying is these aren't things that I struggle with now. They're not things that I do every so often. These are things I haven't done for years, because I've went for help finally, and I had to go through a lot there to be able to get the help.
So was there a breaking point in your life where you said to yourself, I need to get help?
I was, in fact, working. I'm a computer tech. I was working for LAUSD, and I finally had a total break. It's something I was fighting. I was getting help before, but it was constantly a battle, and I finally broke. And my case manager referred me to Step Up on Second. And
So that was the initiation of you becoming a part of Step Up on
Yes, it
Second.
was. And I know, getting my chef's tour, I looked over and there's a little room where the CEO was fixing up a computer for the members at that point in time. And
You went to college and got a degree in
sure,
computers.
but it was something that I enjoyed too much, and I didn't think I could do that for a living. I couldn't allow myself to do that. And for people who haven't dealt with mental illness, might not understand truly what that's about, but you're in your own world apart from reality, and it's hard to actually look at from there. But I know I got to the point where I had to do something. You know, here I was again. Here I am again. And to be honest, I was ready to give up. You know, this just isn't worth it. And
So what's it like being in that point in your life where you really feel like, I don't know what to do? When you say give up, were there suicidal feelings?
Oh, very definitely, very definitely. In a way, I think that was probably the best thing that happened to me, because I was open toward someone like Step Up. And going to, start off, what they suggest you do is out of the 60 groups we have every week, they ask you just to attend 3 of them a week.
Which ones did you attend?
Well, I went to one called Recovery Made Simple, talking about recovering from mental illness. There was a group about daily activities, what's going on in the news. I got involved with that. I like to keep up with that. And there was one other group that was a little bit about how to get along with other people. And I have a rough time of it. I felt so alone. It was hard for me to relate a lot to other people. But I was working on it. Those are the first 3 I really remember going to.
So in a way, these programs and these activities that you were involved with were almost a way of medicating you, different from what you were getting in the past.
Very true, very true. And I not only was going to the groups, I started seeing a doctor there at Step Up. and received, was put on medication for the work I'm doing, and for what I need. And it's amazing with the program, along with help of a doctor, if needed, really helped me out. After a while, I remember looking at the computer that they just set up, and I said, I've got some experience with computers. Would you like for me to run that for you? And he said, yeah. And I moved from that to giving a computer basics course.
Taking on a bigger role with
Yeah,
Step
and
Up.
moving on from there.
So more specifically in talking about your mental illnesses, what have you been dealing with in your life in terms of mental illnesses specifically?
Well, a lot of things. In the past, I've heard voices, and I would actually hurt myself. Those are some things that I was dealing with. No longer really worry about doing that now. I'm just going on a day-to-day basis. One of the things that I've really learned about here recently, last year there was a real bad weather system that went through Houston. That's where I grew up. And I said, I've been disconnected from my family for like 11 years. And so I wanted to call and talk to them. And I called my brother, and the line was disconnected. So I said there had to be someone else I could talk to, and I got in touch with an uncle of mine. And it was really good being connected. Well, after about 3-4 months ago, I got a call saying that my uncle had passed away.
Sorry.
And I said, well, if anybody else in the family wants to talk to me, please connect them. Well, I got a call from my 23-year-old half-brother.
Wow.
I hadn't seen him since he was 12 years old. And I told him, I said, James, I feel really bad that I was never the big brother that you deserve.
So would you say it was the programs
Yes,
that helped
it
you
did.
get to this point of reconnecting with your family?
Very definitely. And in fact, he's going to come out in December and visit. So that's going to be real good.
So more specifically, again, in terms of programs, what other programs have you seen yourself personally that have helped you get to the point where you are today, sitting here?
Well, actually being a part of the tenants. I live there at Step Up on 2nd. And we have a program where we do things together there. I have my learning center that I teach. That helps me because I'm able to share what I know to other people. We have a Sunday morning group that I really love to go to. It talks about gratitude. And we write down the things that we're grateful for. And I suggest that for anybody.
Yes.
And it's amazing what that does. Write down the things we're grateful for. And I usually bring an article about gratitude. Little things like that. Little small miracles that
Little
happen.
things.
Yes.
And they all add up and help you in your life.
And we have those every day at Step Up. Little miracles.
Thank you so much, Les, for taking the time and being here with us. So as you can see, mental illness is something that definitely affects many people in their lives. And Step Up on 2nd is a perfect example of an agency in the Santa Monica area that is dedicating to give long-term commitment to those who need mental health services. So I'm Justin Walter, and thank you for watching this edition of Nonprofit Profiles.